Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Welcome back to World 360. Last week, in a bold move, the US inked a security pact with a former Soviet republic known as Georgia. And this was a clear message to none other than Georgia's longtime foe, Russia, with which it officially severed diplomatic ties in 2008. Not many are familiar with the small country of Georgia, located at the intersection of Europe and Asia. Though it is well known for its peaches, as one pop singer recently reminded.
Peaches out in Georgia. Oh, yeah,
But on a serious note, Georgia is critically placed, with Russia to its north, Azerbaijan to its east, and Armenia and Turkey to its south. It was part of the Russian Empire in the 19th century and was briefly an independent state after the Russian Revolution. In 1936, it became a Soviet republic, and after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, it became an independent country. Georgia has long tried to move out of Moscow's shadow, and the recent security pact with the US isn't really a surprise. Georgia is intent on joining NATO and the EU, and even sent troops to fight alongside the US in Afghanistan and Iraq. Georgia's tensions with Russia are so serious that even Kremlin opponents regularly flock to Georgia for refuge. There are many reasons why relations between Russia and Georgia have soured, but much of it has to do with the territorial dispute, primarily over the separatist regions South Ossetia and Abkhazia. It was Russia, Georgia, and these two territories who entered into Europe's first 21st century war in 2008. In 2008, Georgia lost control of about 20% of its territory after Russian forces allegedly helped two breakaway republics, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, declare autonomy. According to Georgia, Russia has occupied these two territories. Russia is in fact one of the few countries across the world that recognize Abkhazia and South Ossetia as self-declared republics. This is similar to Transnistria. You may remember in episode 4 of World 360, we spoke about the self-declared republic Transnistria, which is located in the narrow strip of land near the Moldovan and Ukrainian border. It is internationally recognized as part of former Soviet Republic Moldova, even though it declared independence from Moldova in 1990. There are still Russian troops stationed in Transnistria, tasked with protecting local military warehouses and even helping with the peacekeeping operation. Similarly, Russia has a military presence in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. What is important to note, however, is that these two territories are partially recognized states. Political Geography Now, also known as PolGeo Now, is a website that beautifully shows you which countries recognize these states, such as Russia, of course, as well as Venezuela and others. Now, the first thing to remember is under the Soviet Union, Abkhazia and South Ossetia were partly autonomous subunits of the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic. Though Georgia declared independence shortly after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, separatist movements in these two territories grew. It also didn't help that Georgia faced a lot of civil unrest after declaring independence following the fall of the Soviet Union, and its first post-independence government was actually overthrown. Now, ethno-nationalist movements emerged in Abkhazia and South Ossetia at this time, which basically means Abkhazians and South Ossetians, who are ethnically different from Georgians, wanted to be independent states. Let's start with Abkhazia. The separatist movement began in 1992 when Abkhazian rebels staged an armed revolt against the Georgian central government. The rebels defeated Georgian forces and established control in 1993, and the next year a ceasefire was arranged. Despite the ceasefire and Russian peacekeeping forces in the region, however, hostilities continued, and in 1999 the region formally declared its independence from Georgia. Russia officially recognized it as a state in 2008, and reportedly about 70% of Abkhazia's residents hold Russian passports, whereas the other 30% of its inhabitants possess unrecognized Abkhazian passports. Now on to South Ossetia. As you can see, it is precariously located between Russia and Georgia. The other half, which is North Ossetia, is in fact located in Russia. Like Abkhazians, many Ossetians hold Russian passports too. There have long been separatist sentiments in South Ossetia, but it was apparently Georgian nationalist Zviad Gamsakhurdia who lit the fire in South Ossetia. And after flashes of violence, the region claimed independence in 1992. Russia, South Ossetia, and Georgia eventually signed a ceasefire agreement that saw a three-way peacekeeping force installed. Now, a report by Euronews really well explains that this worked for many years until the election of Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili in 2004. It was Mikhail who wanted to reunite South Ossetia with Georgia, but South Ossetians shot down this idea in a referendum 2 years later. Fast forward to 2008. Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili sent troops into South Ossetia, and when Russia came to South Ossetia's defense, a 5-day-long conflict began. About 1,500 civilians died, and at one point in the war, Russian troops were within striking distance of the Georgian capital, Tbilisi. An independent EU Commission report in 2009 concluded that Georgia started the conflict with Russia, but that Moscow was behind a long history of provocation and reacted disproportionately. After the war, Russia recognized the independence of South Ossetia and Abkhazia, but it was just one of the few countries in the world to do so. And Georgia officially cut ties with Russia that year as well. Top researchers from the Atlantic Council have actually criticized the West for not coming down on Russia hard enough after this landmark war. John Herbst, director of the Eurasia Center at the Atlantic Council, went as far as to say the 2008 war was when Europe experienced major power aggression for the first time since Hitler's defeat in 1945. He further said the reaction of the West was slow and weak. And it was only in July 2014, when Russia shot down a plane over Ukraine, that the West imposed serious sanctions on Moscow. Now, before I leave you, I wanted to share one fun fact. Did you know that Joseph Stalin was actually a Georgian? He was born in the city of Gori in Georgia, back when Georgia was part of the Russian Empire. Now, Gori has a love-hate relationship with Stalin. After a law in 2010, authorities removed a statue of the dictator from Gori's central square. But there is a small fan club in the city which consists of mainly elderly supporters who defend Stalin, saying he brought industrialization to the Soviet Union and helped defeat Nazi Germany in World War II. On that note, thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for ThePrint. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode.